This platoon leader saw they were getting close and yelled to Jim that he'd better get out of there. The boys in the platoon said it was possible Jim didn't hear, as they had never known him to refuse to obey an order. But his friends seemed to think he was just mad and was doing so much good at the time, he didn't want to move. So he stayed right there and fired until his gun was red hot. Then they zeroed in on him and landed a mortar shell right on top of him. He died instantly, but his hand was still clutching the trigger.
American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all come down like blues on Tuesdays come down. Throw it all away. Throw it all away.
Welcome back to another episode of American Timelines by History for Jerks. I'm Joe, and I'm joined again by Hunter, Gruff, and Artstar to continue June of 1944. And we left off, if you remember, right at D-Day. And here we are, the D-Day episode. I know last episode was supposed to be the D-Day episode, but these guys are yappers. And not me.
Yeah,
No,
just us.
But
Your
we're here.
patience and grace is very much
And
appreciated.
we are going to share with you what happened, according to Wikipedia, on June 6th of 1944. And we're going to take a little detour into some letters that were published from actual World War II combatants. So hopefully
Nice.
hopefully you enjoy
Good
it.
word choice.
Thanks for being here with us, time heads. Hope you like this somewhat new format. I've got some friends who are willing to talk about everything and go on and on about God knows what. So we're going to talk about everything. And fellas, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ready,
of
Freddie.
course.
That's all three. That's Hunter, Gruff, and Artstar.
Thank you.
Okay. June 6th, 1944, D-Day was a Tuesday. D-Day was called Operation Overlord, and it commenced with the crossing of nearly 160,000 Allied troops over the English Channel to land on the beaches of Normandy, France. The battle for Point du Hoc resulted in Allied victory. So, me being a dumb guy, I don't know any of this stuff. So, I looked up La Pointe du Hoc, and it is a promontory. Do you guys know what a promontory is?
Enlighten us.
I didn't know
I'm
what a
sure
promontory
Hunter
was.
knows.
It's a promontory with a 35-meter cliff overlooking the English Channel on the northwestern coast of Normandy in the Calvados department of France. A promontory is a raised mass of land that projects into a lowland or a body of water, in which case it is a peninsula. Most promontories either are formed from a hard ridge of rock that has resisted the erosive forces that have removed the softer rock to the sides of it, or are the high ground that remains between two river valleys where they form a confluence. One type of promontory is a headland or head. And if you look up promontory on Wikipedia, you can see a nice little picture of one. It's basically like a mountain like a small mountain that like juts out into the water. Anyway, in World War II, Point du Hoc was the location of a series of German bunkers and machine gun posts. Prior to the invasion of Normandy, the German army fortified the area with concrete casemates and gun pits. And on D-Day, the U.S. Army Provisional Ranger Group attacked and captured Point du Hoc after scaling the cliffs. U.S. generals, including Dwight D. Eisenhower, had determined that the place housed artillery that could slow down nearby beach attacks. So if they grab that first, that's going to
cuts out
lessen
suppressing fire.
Yeah. So, see, we're getting into the weeds. We're getting du Hoc.
Point.
Yeah, that's a
Point du Hoc. Sorry, no,
it's a Rammstein song. Yeah,
Rammstein. Yeah,
is it Rammstein, or Rammstein?
I think none of them are acceptable. I think there's probably a specific pronunciation that we're missing.
Anyway, the Battle of Merville gun battery was fought to an inconclusive result. That's another battle. And so I looked up, I didn't know what the Battle of Merville gun battery was, so I looked that up. Allied intelligence believed that the Merville gun battery was composed of a heavy caliber 150 millimeter guns that could threaten the British landing at Sword Beach, only 8 miles away. So they had a battle for that, but that was an inconclusive result. So that was a tie. So I guess just everyone died.
Yeah. Well, maybe there was some shit from there, but not as much.
Well, let me get into it because I got some bullet points here.
Sorry.
Yeah, let me get to. I didn't realize I had that till I scrolled down.
Oh, there you
So
go.
the 9th Parachute Battalion, part of the 3rd Parachute Brigade, attached to 6th Airborne Division, was given the objective of destroying the battery. However, when the battalion arrived over Normandy in the pre-dawn of June 6th, their parachute descent was dispersed over a large area. So instead of over 600 men with heavy weapons or equipment, only 150 with neither arrived at the battalion assembly point. So they I guess the wind or
Spread
whatever
too
they got
far,
spread too
yeah.
far. Regardless, they pressed home their attack against an estimated German force of 130 engineers and artillerymen. Reduced to 75 men, the British succeeded in capturing the battery, only to discover that the guns were World War I era howitzers, which only had an effective range of some 8,400 meters, just over 5 miles. Still, using what explosives they had been able to recover, they attempted, with only partial success, to disable the guns. When the British paratroopers had withdrawn, 2 of the guns were put back into action by the Germans. Another attack the next day by British commandos failed to disable the guns or recapture the battery, which remained under German control until August, when the German army started to withdraw from the area. So that one wasn't as much of a success.
No. Inconclusive is a nice way to put it.
Inconclusive, I guess.
I was reading that Point du Hoc is what was depicted in Saving Private Ryan, where they landed.
Really?
Ah,
Nice.
Did you guys all see that?
I
I did.
Banger of a movie.
That's a good movie.
Fun art star fact.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I was confusing Edward Burns with Ben Affleck.
Ah, yeah.
Really?
Which one's Edward Burns?
He's the tall, square-headed white guy with brown hair and brown eyes.
All white people look the same, huh, Art?
Edward Burns and Ben Affleck kind of look alike.
They
kind of look alike.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
are
I'm looking at him
police
right now.
brothers.
I can see
they're
that.
police sketch brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Artstar.
Artstar facts are fun.
For the first year I've known Artstar, he thought I was Brad Pitt.
He's the one that
yeah.
he's the one that complains to Tom Hanks's character, and Tom Hanks goes on the rant about complaining goes up. I don't complain to you guys. I complain to the people above
me. So I haven't seen that movie. Is there any blood in it?
You've not seen?
I want to watch it, but
as long
as there's no
look
blood.
Of surprise is
any violence?
Amazing, Hunter. I'm thinking
is there any violence in it?
He's 85% serious. He knows there's violence, he knows there's blood, but he hasn't.
But you have not seen the movie?
No, I can't bring myself to watch war.
So I'm a big fan of war.
I will tell you, I am watching right now.
Depictions of war.
I've been watching, and Art's going to be so excited. There's a Tom Cruise movie. I'm watching Born on the 4th of July.
Oh, that makes sense. That's a good war movie for you.
Okay. Well, the only reason I'm watching that is so stupid because I got a weird, crazy chronology brain because I'm re-listening to my entire YouTube music yearly annual playlist I've created since the night before. And I decided, well, while I'm listening, every year I redo them, and I'm like, not every year, every couple of years. It takes me that longer to listen to them all. I'm listening to 1990. My 1990 playlist. I'm like, oh, some of these songs, I don't need every Fat Boy song. I can get rid of some of these. So I pare them down. But while I'm listening to 1990, I'm like, you know what? I want to watch a movie from 1990 that I haven't seen. And I just went through what movies haven't I seen? I haven't seen a lot of them. I didn't see any movies in 1990. I was too busy. I don't know what I was
doing. Joe, did you just reveal that you use YouTube Music?
Yeah. Is that a problem?
Is it? No, I love that.
Oh.
I've been trying to convince everyone that it's the
Oh, it's
place to be.
great.
Oh no, but
Because
like
you get YouTube music and you
Yep.
get no ads on YouTube.
Exactly. And you
No,
can
I like
download.
Like
music.
someone shows me a YouTube video and an ad starts playing, I
Nope.
walk out of the room.
I snap.
I'm
Oh,
out.
I don't.
see.
I try to snap my own neck on the way out. Yeah.
Oh, see, you know,
I can't do an ad. Yeah. Nope.
see, you pampered, can't do an ad, won't
And
use
that's the
toilet
reason
paper.
why now YouTube has so many ads.
There are some
So many
things.
ads on YouTube
There's
now.
some things
I mean,
that
I wouldn't know,
watch.
Art. I don't fucking
Yeah.
see them.
No,
Yeah.
there you go.
I will
See, I
say,
don't pay for YouTube, but I'll like get up and let a long ad play. I'll just walk out of the room. I'll
no.
go to the bathroom. I'll prep
I've,
dinner. You
I'm
know,
like, are
I
you
use
kidding
ads
me?
for like
You get that
commercials.
enhanced bit rate on videos. I mean,
It is worth
YouTube
it.
Premium's where it's at, guys.
It
Well,
really
it
is.
and
And you
if
get
I
the
could,
music,
if
and
I
you can
didn't have better
download.
things to spend movie.
Because a lot of times, at least when I switched to that, you couldn't download playlists with Spotify and the other ones. You couldn't download the music onto your, so you could have it on your device while you're driving around. Anyway, yeah. But Netflix, I have the cheap
So
Netflix,
D-Day.
so I'm seeing a lot of ads during Born on the 4th of July. It's just taking me a long time to get through that. But that said, I didn't like the war part, and I was glad it was over pretty quick. So I don't know
So
that I
you're
could
never
take.
gonna see Apocalypse Now. You're never gonna watch Apocalypse Now.
I know everybody says it's great, so maybe I'll.
But no, dude, I
It's
always say
hard
that
to
because
see. It's hard to watch
beef
that
is the one
stuff.
who set me down.
Apocalypse
Beef is
Now
the
is
one that's
awesome.
yeah, beef is the one that set me
What about
down.
like
I think I did watch that in
Dunkirk,
college.
1917?
Well,
That-
there's so many,
uh,
dude.
it's
So many good
great.
World War
Beautiful
II.
I
Great.
guess I'll
ones.
just
Yeah.
watch all the
Focus-
war movies.
My
not all
dad
of them,
doesn't like
a
watching
few.
war movies.
I'm
There's some
just
very
like your dad.
peaceful war movies.
I love your dad.
Yeah,
Art.
dude.
Is your dad
I would
Art?
hug your dad.
Art? Are you Art Junior?
I am.
You are. Your dad's name's
No.
Artstar too.
No, he's not. I
Artstar
am
Senior.
I am the originator.
Oh, I thought you were
A
Junior.
junior.
I'm a junior. That doesn't make my dad art star.
Oh, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Okay, you're the only Art Star.
And I'm not. There are multiple people who claim the name, but I am me.
Okay, back to June 6th. The British executed the capture of the shit. I looked this up a while ago, but I don't remember. Is it the Caen Canal? Caen Canal? Caen. It's probably Caen.
Oh,
Caen. The British executed the capture of the Caen Canal and Orne River bridges.
This
This resulted in the
offensive?
first Allied troops to land in Normandy. So the capture of the Caen Canal and Orne River bridges, wrongly known as Operation Dead Stick, it's not, which in fact was a specialized glider exercise, and in official documents as Operation Coup de Main, was an operation by airborne forces of the British Army that took place in the early hours of June 6, 1944, as part of the Normandy landings of the Second World War. The objective was to capture intact 2 road bridges in Normandy across the River Orne and the Caen Canal. Caen Canal, providing the only. I'm probably saying it wrong, and some
Oh yeah, I'm
person
purposely
from
saying it wrong.
Normandy is going to be pissed.
Yeah.
But
Listeners.
these were providing the only exit eastwards for British forces from their landing on Sword Beach. Intelligence reports said both bridges were heavily defended by the Germans and wired for demolition. Once captured, the bridges had to be held against any counterattack until the assault force was relieved by commandos and other infantry advancing from the landing beach. The same day, British forces also undertook Operation Houndsworth and Operation Mallard. Now, if you're a World War II buff, you probably know those things. You probably have a tattoo of Operation Handsworth on one tit and Operation
Well,
Mallard on the other. But
maybe
I
they're
didn't
the
know what these
badges.
were.
They're like the patches.
But I don't know these.
I don't know them
Yeah,
either.
they might
Joe.
be like. So I dug a little bit deep in this, and we get into delicious mustard history because
Did you get patch design?
no, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
But Operation Houndsworth, Steve, was centered
Houndsworth.
It was centered on Dijon in the Burgundy region of
Dijon.
France.
Oh,
and-
It was
Burgundy.
mallet ducks.
And Dijon, in
Burgundy.
Dijon, France,
Yeah.
is where Dijon mustard originated in
That's a
1856.
fine, tasty.
And let's jump back real quick to 1856 because Jean Naillon of Dijon substituted verjuice, the acidic green juice of not quite ripe grapes, for vinegar in the traditional mustard recipe, and that's where he got Dijon. In general, mustards
Oh.
from Dijon today contain white wine rather than verjuice, but that's where it started. Dijon mustard is not necessarily produced near Dijon, as the term is regarded as uh, genericized under European Union law, so that it cannot be registered for, or protected designation of origin status. Most
Like
Dijon
champagne
mustard,
and champagne.
most Dijon mustard brands such as Amora or Male, I guess, is produced industrially, and over 90% of mustard seed used in local production is imported, mainly from Canada. In
Okay.
2008,
All right.
Unilever closed its Amora mustard factory in Dijon.
French controlled Canada?
Yeah, no more Dijon in Dijon anymore. No more
Yeah,
mustard factories.
but Dijon essentially denotes
Is a
grape as
style.
opposed to
That
yeah,
grape, yeah, from
the
that
presence
originated in
of the
Dijon, yeah.
grape, the yeah.
But it looks like they did the mustard factory in Dijon is gone, so
Like a
it's not
Philly
even
sandwich was born in Philadelphia and
right.
now it's become a style.
But you can still get that in Philly. But I don't. I think if you
Exactly,
travel to
but
Dijon just for a mustard to tour a factory, you're going to be out
no,
of
that's
luck.
not going to happen.
You're going to be
That's
out
not
of
going to
luck.
happen, but you're going to get someone that like makes Dijon in Dijon because
Yeah,
why wouldn't you?
but there might
Fucking
be.
French. It's like they add, it's like, oh, we see something, we swap it out for grape.
That's
That
right.
was French.
Okay, so back to
That was
1944, Operation Houndsworth in Dijon, France. Operation Houndsworth objective was to disrupt German lines of communication, coordinate the activities of the French resistance, and prevent German reinforcements moving to the Normandy beachheads, especially the 2nd SS Panzer Division, Das Reich. So this, so they really planned this all out. They had all these operations to like disrupt
I would hope.
communications, block off
It was a
bridges, all
big
this shit.
investment.
The men in
Yeah, dude.
Operation Houndsworth were part of
Cut
the
this off,
special.
cut that off.
Yeah, cut it off. They were part
Yeah,
of the
man.
Special Air Service Brigade.
Supply lines and backup.
Now back to
Special Air Force Brigade.
Operation Mallard.
Okay.
That
I almost
objective was
thought Wordsworth.
what's that?
I just
Houndsworth.
my brain went to Wordsworth
Yeah.
because
So
Hounsworth and Wordsworth, but
Houndsworth and
yeah,
Wordsworth
yeah, but
from
to Mallard,
Heathcliff.
yeah.
Okay, now back to Operation Mallard, which is the other operation on that same day. That objective was to airlift glider infantry of the 6th Air Landing Brigade and divisional troops to reinforce the 6th Airborne Division on the left flank of the British invasion beaches, using 2 landing zones, one to the west of the Caen Canal and the other to the east of the River Orne. Mallard was the 3rd airborne operation involving units of the division on D-Day. The first of the Caen Canal and Orne River bridges to be captured were what are now known as the Pegasus Bridge and Horse Bridge. That's what they're called now. Okay,
If you
then
can
operate.
find a World War II view film that covered the glider attacks,
Mhm.
that would be pretty cool
I
to
bet.
see
Yeah.
the large gliders that were used.
And there is actual footage, and I think something I cover in here
Yeah,
shows that
yeah,
they
yeah,
actually have, like, there were people that were just
yeah.
recording and couldn't
Like it,
believe
just like think,
what they
yeah,
were
just thinking
seeing.
about
Yeah.
looking up at the ground. It's like, what the fuck is that?
And they lost a lot of footage too, I guess. So we'll get to that. But
Uh,
Operation Tonga followed, dropping the division's 2 parachute brigades near Cayenne to the east.
Tonga.
Mallard proved successful at 246 of the 256 gliders towed by aircraft from number 38 Group RAF and number 48 Group arriving safely at their landing zones. The landings included the first Tetrarch tanks to be delivered into combat by air. And the Norwegian destroyer Svenner was sunk off Sword Beach by a German torpedo boat,
Spanner.
the only Allied ship
Oh
to be
no.
sunk by German naval activity on D-Day. Only one was
Yo,
sunk by German.
Svenner,
Svenner.
no.
Okay.
Svenner, no.
And so I want to know about the Svenner. So I looked this up.
Ooh.
The HNOMS Svenna. The ship was launched on June 1st, 1943 as the Royal Navy ship HMS Shark. Again, this is the only this is a Norwegian destroyer, the only Allied ship sunk. But
Svenner was Norwegian?
yeah, it was the
Okay.
Royal Navy ship HMS Shark originally, but when she was commissioned in the Royal Norwegian Navy in 1944, she was rechristened Svenner, HNOMS
Cats name
Svenner,
it after food.
named after
Hey,
Eat
Joe.
shark.
It was named after the Svenner Island Group in Larvik, Norway. The Svenner was hit by 2 torpedoes fired from one of 2 German torpedo boats, either Jaguar or Moe of the 5th torpedo boat flotilla operating out of Le Havre that managed to get within firing range. Svenner was the only Allied ship to be sunk, as we talked about, by German naval activity. She was struck amidship, exploded, broke in 2, and sank very quickly. Casualties were 1 British and 32 Norwegian crewmen killed and 185 rescued from the crew of 219. The anchor from Svenner was recovered in 2003 and now forms a Svenner Memorial at Sword. So that's cool that they found that.
Yeah, no, that was cool.
And on D-Day,
I really like. I
go ahead.
enjoy how plans like that. We're gonna take this bridge to clear for the gliders. It's fun.
I like that they found the anchor in
Yeah.
2003. Like, how many celebrations and memorials have they done? And then they didn't find it till 2003, and then they still keep it there.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Stanley Hollis earned the only Victoria Cross to be awarded for D-Day. I wasn't familiar with what a Victoria Cross was.
No.
Did you guys?
No. I have a vague image in my head.
I found
I have
out
a category.
after the fact
You did? You
because
looked.
one of my one of the
You were
one of my
awarded it
people
and said, "What the fuck is this?"
Art, you got
one
a
of the
Victoria
people I
Cross?
had to look up.
Had a Victoria Cross?
Yeah,
I mean,
did.
not for D-Day.
One of the people I had to look up.
That was
got
only
the,
Stanley Hollis.
Victoria Cross.
So you didn't have Stanley Hollis, though, right?
I didn't have Stanley Hollis.
Okay. Stanley Hollis was the only one who got a Victoria Cross on D-Day. So I looked up, who was Stanley Hollis? He was a British recipient of the Victoria Cross, the highest and most prestigious award for gallantry in the face of the enemy that can be awarded to British and Commonwealth forces. He was born in Middlesbrough, North Riding of Yorkshire, England, where he lived and attended the local school until 1926.
Primary school was.
Then his parents, Edith and Alfred Hollis, moved to Robin Hood's Bay, where he worked in his father's fish and chip shop.
Nice.
Yeah, we got a little background on this guy. He worked in a fish
Yeah,
and chip
Robin
shop.
Hood's Bay.
Later, he worked as a
That was
Tory
nice. Thank you,
driver.
Joe.
And he
Tory
married
driver or a lorry driver?
Oh, sorry, lorry driver. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, what's a
I didn't know
Tory?
they could have said it could have been a taxi truck.
No. Yeah, later he worked as a lorry driver and married Alex Clixby, with whom he had a son and a daughter.
Oh, nice. One of each, I guess. No.
Yeah, so here is a citation published in the London Gazette about Stanley Hollis and why he won this award. So, in Normandy on June 6th, 1944, during the assault on the beaches in the Mont Fleury Battery, CSM Hollis's company commander noticed that 2 of the pillboxes had been bypassed and went with CSM Hollis to see that they were clear. When they were 20 yards from the pillbox, a machine gun opened fire from the slit, and CSM Hollis instantly rushed straight at the pillbox, firing his Sten gun. He jumped on top of the pillbox, recharged his magazine, threw a grenade through the door, and fired his Sten gun into it, killing 2 Germans and taking the remainder prisoner. He then cleared several Germans from a neighboring trench. By his actions, he undoubtedly saved his company from being fired on heavily from the rear and enabled them to open the main beach's exit.
Nice.
Wow, that's great. He should get this award, right? Later the same day, in the village of Crepon was where they make crepes, the company encountered a field gun and crew armed with a Spandaus at 100 yards range. CSM Hollis was put in command of a party to cover an attack on the gun, but the movement was held up. Seeing this, CSM Hollis pushed right forward to engage the gun with a PIAT from a house at 50 yards range. He was observed by a sniper who fired and grazed his right cheek. And at the same moment, the gun swung around and fired into the house. To avoid the fallen masonry, Hollis moved his party to an alternate position. 2 of the enemy gun crew had by this time been killed, and the gun was destroyed shortly afterward. He later found that 2 of his men had stayed behind in the house and immediately volunteered to get them out. In full view of the enemy who were continually firing at him, he went forward alone, using a Bren gun to distract their attention from the other men, and under cover of his diversion, the 2 men were able to get back. Wherever fighting was heaviest, Hollis appeared, and in the course of a magnificent day's work, he displayed the utmost gallantry, and on 2 separate occasions, his courage and initiative prevented the enemy from holding up the advance at critical stages. It was largely through his heroism and resource that the company's objectives were gained and casualties were not heavier, and by his own bravery, he saved the lives of many of his men. And a little bit about Hollis after the war. He worked for a time as a sandblaster in local steelworks. He then became a partner in a motor repair business in Darlington before becoming a ship's engineer from 1950 to 1955. And then he trained as a publican and ran the Albion Public House in Market Square. That's a bartender. North Ormsby.
Nice.
He was in Market Square, North Ormsby, and the pub's name was changed to the Green Howard. And after the pub was demolished in 1970, he moved to become the tenant of the Holywell View Public House at Liverton Mines near Loftus. So he ran a bunch of bars afterwards, and people got to drink with him in public houses.
Did you say something
Yeah.
about? Did you say something about Albion?
Yes.
Albion.
Art, don't smile at me. Do you know what I'm? Do you know why that perked me?
Did I say Albion? I don't see that on here now.
Okay, never mind.
Tell us the story, Hunter
I was
Brain.
hearing something.
Artstar, tell us the story.
The Albion Public House. He ran the bar.
There it
called
is.
Oh, okay. That's what
There
it's
it
called.
is.
Okay.
Albion
Yeah.
Public House. Albion.
So,
Albion.
speak of this bell that is rung, Hunter Brain.
There's a video game on Xbox called Fable, and the world of that they live in is called Albion.
Really? Is it
And I
Albion?
believe that's a and I believe that's a British studio that made
Yeah.
that game. So, I wonder
Well,
if there's
it's
a
the
connection.
old name of a pub
I mean, it's a reference.
in Market Square,
The
North
references.
Ormsby, but that's been changed to the Green Howard now. So there you go. That's where
Could still
this
be a reference.
Stanley Hollis was. Okay, here's another thing. War photographer
Ooh.
Robert Capa, I think I alluded to this earlier. War photographer Robert Capa took the Magnificent 11 D-Day photographs. These are like, if you look up D-Day photographs, these are what you're going to see. There's only 11 photographs from D-Day. I think that has survived. And let's get into this. So, the Magnificent 11 are a group of photos of D-Day, June 6, 1944, taken by this guy. Capa was with one of the earliest waves of troops landing on the American invasion beach, Omaha Beach. He stated that while under fire, he took 106 pictures. All but 11 of these were destroyed in a processing accident in the Life magazine photo lab in London, although the accidental loss of the remaining negatives has been disputed. The pictures have been widely celebrated, and Steven Spielberg is said to have been inspired by them, and that's where he wrote, or when he filmed Saving Private Ryan. These pictures inspired it, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
For many
The Stanley
years,
Hollis story.
the soldier
on.
in the most well-known of these photographs was identified as Edward Regan. Another soldier, Houston Riley, has also been put forward. Riley himself remembers meeting a photographer who helped him out of the water. He said, "I was surprised to see him there. I saw the press badge and I thought, what the hell's he doing here? He helped me out of the water and then he took off down the beach for more photos." Can you imagine being in the middle of all this fucking war and like, let's fucking taking pictures? What the fuck?
Guy doesn't have a gun. He's got a camera.
Yeah,
What?
what the fuck is happening? The combat engineer behind the Hedgehog is believed to be James E. Terrell, who remembered Kappa pointing a camera at him. And the man next to Terrell was alive in the first photo and then was killed by the time they took the second photo. Adolf Hitler was awoken at the Berghof around noon on D-Day and was informed of the Normandy landings. and he displayed no outward signs of distress and appeared to be confident that the invasion would be repulsed, allegedly. Winston Churchill announced the Normandy landings in an address to the House of Commons. I cannot, of course, commit myself to any particular details, Churchill said. Reports are coming in rapid succession. So far, the commanders who are engaged report that everything is proceeding according to plan. And what a plan! This vast this vast operation is undoubtedly the most complicated and difficult that has ever occurred. Nothing that equipment, science, or forethought could do has been neglected, and the whole process of opening this great new front will be pursued with the utmost resolution, both by the commanders and by the United States and British governments whom they serve. Okay, this is where I thought we should include some letters I found for the Center for American War Letters at Chapman University in California, directed by Andrew Carroll. It's an invaluable repository of the words of Americans at war. Here are excerpts that vividly recall June 6, 1944, published in 2019 by AARP. I think we'll start with Artstar, I believe.
Right. This is Private First Class Dom Bart, who was with the first wave that landed on Omaha Beach, recalling what he witnessed to his wife Mildred. In the faraway distance, I could hear the rumble of the artillery and the brr, brr. We didn't have a chance to fight back as we were dropped in the water over our heads. No one's fault, as the entire beach was strewn with mines. With a stream of lead coming towards us, we were at the mercy of the Germans, and we had all to do to reach shore and recuperate. I floated around in water for about an hour and was more dead than alive. Pulled myself together and sought a rifle, and around I went, trying to locate my outfit. It didn't take long to spot them, and I was glad. But gracious Lord, what was left of them, just a handful, about 25 out of 160. The battalion was almost wiped out, 800 casualties out of 1,000 men.
PFC Charles McAllister, 101st Airborne, wrote to the mother of his cousin, PFC Jim Dashner, also of the 101st. He revealed what he'd been told of her son's courage on D-Day. Jim's section leader had been killed and Jim was in charge, so he took over the machine gun himself. The enemy had them surrounded on 3 sides and had them pinned down with fire. Jim took the machine gun and crawled forward to a good position and set up the gun and began firing. He was in a spot and was doing plenty of good. So the Germans started concentrating all their efforts on him. His platoon leader saw they were getting close and yelled to Jim that he'd better get out of there. The boys in the platoon said it was possible Jim didn't hear, as they had never known him to refuse to obey an order. But his friends seemed to think he was just mad and was doing so much good at the time, he didn't want to move. So he stayed right there and fired until his gun was red hot. Then they zeroed in on him and landed a mortar shell right on top of him. He died instantly, but his hand was still clutching the trigger. As a result of his continued fire, the platoon was able to advance to their objective. With all my love, Charles.
It's got to be a pretty wild letter to get as a mother.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty
Seriously.
graphic to be like sending it to.
Yeah. But I mean, it was from his cousin, so she knew who was sending it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, little Chuck. I liked the hand still clutching the trigger, and that was the fire that bought them time.
Yeah, he was a hero.
Sergeant Robert Paulson with the 10th Infantry Regiment, 5th Division, wrote this letter shortly after the Normandy landing. We stopped in the English Channel, and we could see the French coast off in the distance. 2 large battleships are shelling the coast. I see a large row of airships with cables hanging down. There is a smell of gunpowder filling the air. As we hit the beach, the large front door went down. We all walked out on the dry sand. The tide was out. As I walked up the beach, I saw arms and legs in the channel. A head was floating not far from the beach. He looked like a young man. There was a large pool of blood in the sand. Something terrible happened on this beach. We'll have to close. I'm in a foxhole not far from the channel. I have a raincoat over me to hide the candle. I hear Saint Lo is our first town. Mother, I grew up today. Your son, Robert.
Hmm.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
he's writing a letter in the middle of
Hmm.
the shit.
Yeah.
And these are
Yeah.
kids. Remember, a lot of these guys lied about their age. You know, some of them weren't even old enough. So with him saying, "Mother, I grew up today," seeing all that, think about it like a 16-year-old or whatever. You
Yeah.
know, Ugh,
Yeah.
He talks about the arms and legs strung
Head
about the beach.
floating.
I know you haven't seen it,
yeah.
but um, Saving Private Ryan, there's a scene early on the beach of Normandy, and there's a uh, one of the soldiers is walking around clearly without an arm and is looking around for his arm on the beach.
That's part of the reason I haven't watched it. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah.
This is a hard place to go. You know, this is a hard.
Well,
It's kind of why I'm not a World War II buff. I wasn't
well,
thrilled about talking about this stuff, but I feel like along the same lines of the stuff we get into with, uh, you know, civil rights and lynching and violence, uh,
we have to be
in
able
the
to talk about
'60s. I
uncomfortable
gotta talk.
shit.
You
Yeah, you
can't
can't
like
not talk about
brush
when you
over
don't
any of
talk
this.
about the
Yeah,
reality of the situation,
right.
you're left with the fucking, I mean,
Right. It's
the
important to talk
legends.
about these
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
even if it's rough and you don't, why do you want to
Well,
spend
no,
your
you
free
know,
time talking
well,
about
yeah,
this? But it's
yeah.
important to talk about these things, I guess. So, all right, Steve.
Well, yeah, and if this will help with the other conversations later on, all the
Yeah.
better.
And it makes it
Yeah.
more, I mean, it makes it just
Well,
like, let's talk
we
about what this
remember that
was.
we
Yeah.
remember that people do this,
Yeah.
you know, or more importantly, this happens to people, you know.
It just war just doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's just like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's like, I often think about this. Like when they say they didn't follow war rules or whatever it is, like,
Rules of
the
engagement.
rules of the game. It's like, it's death. You're murdering each other. Like,
Well,
well, how
yeah,
is it
but
rules? Like,
you have to do. There's certain ways to
All's fair in love
murder.
and war.
Yeah,
yes,
there's
I don't know.
certain ways to fuck another man's wife. No, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
It's just
weird.
like it's just unbelievable chaos. And I know
Well, yeah,
World War II is probably
the
less chaos than Vietnam. Like I said,
I think the chaos of a battlefield, the fog of war
it's
is
just whatever.
distinct and hellishly shared by people. PFC James Martin described the awe and terror of parachuting into France in the face of German fire. The night was beautiful. There were a few stratus clouds drifting about here and there. The moon silhouetted the plains around us and danced on the white caps in the channel below us. The fiery exhaust of our engines reminded me strangely of a blast furnace. The many dark forms scattered in the choppy waters of the channel were, I realized, part of the world's greatest armada of ships waiting to belch forth thousands of troops into Hitler's impregnable wall. And I suddenly realized that they were waiting and depending on us. Then I stepped out to meet a ladder of enemy flak and tracers. Thank God I missed all the rungs on the way down. The loneliest feeling in the world was when I hit the ground with not another soul around me. Love, Jimmy.
Captain George Montgomery with the 82nd Airborne wrote about his D-Day experience to his fiancée, Arlene. Arlene, my dearest, today is our 20th day in action, yet it seems like years. What has happened to me and my battalion will be scoffed at, even in a 10-cent novel, as being impossible. While the few of us left alive are alive is something to figure out in church. I've seen as many of my very best friends killed beside me. I just can't believe it is all really happening. I never in my wildest dreams knew such terror could grip your very soul. The business of landing deep in enemy territory and trying to hold the position assaulted and shelled from four sides until friendly troops break through is something I hope they never ask me to do again. The night we jumped, D-Day, 6 hours, was the payoff night. The Jerrys knew our plan down to the last detail and were waiting for us with everything we had. Everything they had. My chute was on fire from tracer bullets when I landed, right in front of a machine gun emplacement. I cut off my harness and crawled for a couple of hours with bullets whistling past my ears, coming from seemingly every direction. We have had mail brought to us twice and have been permitted to write twice. Both mail calls brought me letters from you, Arlene, and I could have wept with joy and relief to hear from you, and that you will still have mine to be Mrs. G. Montgomery one of these days. Montgomery returned home to Iowa after the war and married Arlene in 1946. Tyler Perry recently did a movie called The 6888.
Oh,
And The 6888 is a story about a group of African American women in the war who a lot of them joined up because their significant others were sent off to fight the war. When, the story's always been, we were sent to fight the war abroad when we weren't even free back home, kind of thing. But they wanted to go because they wanted to be on the front lines and fight through whatever. But they sent them over there to deal with the mail. And they was giving them basically busy work and an impossible task kind of busy work. But what they actually did was when they went over there, create a mail system so they could get these letters home to, the soldiers' wives and families so they could get letters like this. So when I read that, I was like, that's kind of cool to read that and then seeing this movie and seeing, just how, how hard it was just to get letters. And like here's people writing letters and getting letters home. So
and then an actual example of like what that meant to him to get that. And then hearing that ending thing that you said, like he actually made it home and got to marry her. Like, and he was like, all he cared about was that she still wants to, every letter he got, he was like, oh my gosh, she still wants to be my wife.
Well, it's hope. It's like that sign of hope. Like and that's one thing, like a lot of these movies about war, a lot of times it's always about the letters that they write back home. Like a lot of them always be like I have the letter in their pocket. If they get hit or something, they're like, can you do me a favor? They're like, can you make sure this gets home? Can you make sure that gets home? They literally, they'll write something before they go out. And they're like, if something happens to me, make sure this gets home kind of thing.
It was even custom, like, between both sides. Like if you were to, like if two opposing soldiers were to fight out in the middle of nowhere and, one of them kills the other and finds him, they would collect their letters and consider it their own responsibility to return them to whoever they were supposed to go to.
Even if they're,
even the enemy.
Even the enemy, which is crazy to me. It's like, then if we're doing this for each other, why are we
it's like Geneva
Geneva
Convention and all that type of stuff.
Everyone shooting at each other knows that no one shooting at each other would want to be shooting at each other.
Right. It's such an absurd,
like that acceptance.
Yeah.
I don't know about it anymore. I don't like I
That's crazy.
I don't know if that still happens.
Joe, I don't know if you remember. It was on one of the first World War II podcasts we talked about. There was a podcast I was listening to that talked about this scale of war not even being able to happen anymore because you would not be able to find this many people committed to like going to war.
Willing to do this.
They say that the possibility of there being a ground war, of this scale ever in the future doesn't exist anymore because there's no There's none of this love for country
Yeah, the loyalty and the
that would
patriotism.
that would take anyone to these lengths.
To these
Now,
lengths. Yeah.
right, which I mean, does that matter when all war is fought now by drones, missiles,
Exactly.
like
There are people willing to go to this
see the
length.
person. You don't have to
Yeah.
look the person in the eyes as you're
Blowing them
There,
up. Yeah.
there are a lot of drone strikes,
Yeah, it's all
in in Eastern Europe,
right. It's all just
But
drones.
there's a wonderful joke about it in Adventures of Baron Munchausen when they go to Hephaestus and he's making missiles and talking about it takes the joy out of war, just being able to sit in a room and press a button.
I saw a, I don't know if it was an ad or something on social media where I think it's Ukraine. They're passing out to civilians these little net guns that shoots nets just to get drones. Like if they see a Russian drone,
knock the little drones
Yeah.
out.
they shoot these nets and capture these Russian drones. It's like they're giving them to everybody. Like everyone has issued one of these. I was like, what a crazy time we're living in too. And this, as if this time wasn't crazy, that's a crazy time too. Yeah, it's all nuts. Okay, let's two more letters. Okay, shortly before D-Day, Second Lieutenant Jack Lundberg wrote his family a sobering note. Now that I'm actually here, I see the chances of my returning to all of you are quite slim. Therefore, I want to write this letter now while I am yet able. I want you to know how much I love each of you. You mean everything to me, and it is the realization of your love that gives me the courage to continue. I've requested that this letter be forwarded only in the event I do not return. You have had many more times than your share of illness and deaths in the family. Still, you have continued to exemplify what true parents should. I'm sorry to add to your grief, but at all times realize that my thoughts are of you constantly, and that I feel that in some small way, I'm helping to bring this wasteful war to a conclusion. We of the United States have something to fight for. Never more fully have I realized that. There just is no other country with comparable wealth, advancement, or standard of living. The USA is worth a sacrifice. Remember always that I love you each most fervently, and I'm proud of you. Consider Mary, my wife, as having taken my place in the family circle and watch over each other. Love to my family, Jack. 2.5 weeks after D-Day, Lundberg was the lead navigator on a B-17 flying over Abbeville, France, and was hit by a German anti-aircraft fire, burst into flames, and crashed. Lundberg was killed. But that letter survived, got there somehow.
Well, I mean, that's the efficiency of the 888.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now
I want to watch that movie.
That's
it's the plug for that movie. Okay. And Hunter's got the last one.
So this is P-47 pilot Captain George Rary. He found out before D-Day that he was a father, and he wrote this letter. Junie, got back from a mission at 4:00 this afternoon, and what did I see? The deacon waving at me as I walked up the road to the shack, a small yellow envelope. I thought it was a little early, but I quit breathing completely until the wonderful news unfolded. A son, darling Junie, I'm so proud of you. I'm beside myself. Junie, if this letter makes no sense, forget it. I'm sort of delirious. This iron hut looks like a castle. I'm a father. I have a son. Rare's P-47 was shot down a couple weeks after D-Day while supporting ground troops. He died without seeing his son. And I looked up George Rary a little bit more, and he was actually known for drawing nose art on the planes and the missions that he flew in.
That's fucking cool.
There's a pretty big like collection of his nose art, and he also like drew little cartoons like
Really?
for his
That's
friends and
cool.
people that he liked.
Oh, it's cool that you looked him up. I didn't think to look up any of these guys, but
Yeah,
his
Well, we
his
know Hunter's
peers
better.
his peers called him Dad.
Really?
'Cause he didn't like his name, so he just took Dad as a nickname.
Yeah. Wow. Was it because he was so excited about having a son or having a kid?
No,
Or-
it
oh.
was his peers gave it to him because they all looked up to him as an old man at the age of 27.
Yeah, gotcha. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Yeah. President Roosevelt went on a national radio at night to address the nation about the Normandy invasion. The president's address took the form of a prayer.
In this poignant hour, I ask you to join with me in prayer. Almighty God, our sons, pride of our nation, this day have set upon a mighty endeavor, a struggle to preserve our republic, our religion, and our civilization, and to set free a suffering humanity. Lead them straight and true. Give strength to their arms, stoutness to their hearts, steadfastness in their faith. They will need thy blessings. Their road will be long and hard. For the enemy is strong. He may hurl back our forces. Success may not come with rushing speed, but we shall return again and again. And we know that by thy grace and by the righteousness of our cause, our sons will triumph. They will be sore tried by night and by day, without rest, until the victory is won. The darkness will be rent by noise and flame. Men's souls will be shaken with the violences of war. For these men are lately drawn from the ways of peace. They fight not for the lust of conquest. They fight to end conquest. They fight to liberate. They fight to let justice arise and tolerance and goodwill among all thy people. They yearn but for the end of battle, for their return to the haven of home. Some will never return. Embrace these, Father, and receive them, thy heroic servants, into thy kingdom. And for us at home, fathers, mothers, children, wives, sisters, and brothers of brave men overseas, whose thoughts and prayers are ever with them. Help us, Almighty God, to rededicate ourselves in renewed faith in Thee in this hour of great sacrifice. Many people have urged that I call the nation into a single day of special prayer. But because the road is long and the desire is great, I ask that our people devote themselves in a continuance of prayer. As we rise to each new day, and again when each day is spent, let words of prayer be on our lips, invoking thy help to our efforts. Give us strength, too, strength in our daily tasks, to redouble the contributions we make in the physical and the material support of our armed forces. And let our hearts be stout to wait out the long travail, to bear sorrows that may come, to impart our courage unto our sons, wheresoever they may be. And, O Lord, give us faith. Give us faith in Thee, faith in our sons, faith in each other, faith in our united crusade. Let not the keenness of our spirit ever be dulled. Let not the impacts of temporary events, of temporal matters of but fleeting moment, let not these deter us in our unconquerable purpose. With Thy blessing, we shall prevail over the unholy forces of our enemy. Help us to conquer the apostles of greed and racial arrogances. Lead us to the saving of our country, and with our sister nations into a world unity that will spell a sure peace, a peace invulnerable to the schemings of unworthy men, and a peace that will let all men live in freedom, reaping the just rewards of their honest toil. Thy will be done, Almighty God.
And then we have a birthday. Birthday! We love
Pew, pew,
birthdays.
pew.
Edgar Fruza, artist and electronic musician, was born in Tilsit, East Prussia. He was a German musical artist and electronic music pioneer, best known for founding the electronic music group Tangerine Dream in 1967.
Oh,
Yeah, you've heard of that,
nice.
right? Fruza was
Yeah, they did. I'm pretty sure they did the music for Near Dark, right?
maybe. Fruza was the only
Vampire movie?
continuous member of the group Tangerine Dream until his death. He was a friend of such artists as David Bowie, Brian Eno, Iggy Pop.
No.
Actually,
Hey,
Iggy Pop and David Bowie lived with Fruza and his wife for a time.
wonderful.
So there you go.
That's a fun.
Isn't that a
set.
fun little birthday to like
Yeah,
cleanse the palate of
yeah,
all this awful war?
exactly.
Fruza was
It's like a
born in East
fine
Prussia
cola.
on D-Day during World War II, and members of his family, including his father, had been killed by the Nazis. And after the war, his mother and surviving family settled in Berlin. And he took piano lessons from the age of 12, started playing guitar at 15, and after showing an early aptitude for art, he enrolled at the Academy of Arts in Berlin to study painting and sculpture. The team mascot is the Fighting. No, I'm just kidding. There's no mascot. One of the most lucrative jobs was to design advertising posters. One of his most lucrative jobs was to design advertising posters for the Berlin buses. He started
Nice.
an evening degree in psychology and philosophy and received his doctorate on Kant's categorical imperative. Uh, okay. Since his interpretation was not in accordance with the academic way of thinking, he left college with the remark, "The dust of the universities is like a shroud over the truth." Anyway, Fruza died suddenly in Vienna in 2015 from a pulmonary embolism.
Oh, good for him. He went quick.
He was quoted by the BBC as having once said, "There is no death, there is just a change of our cosmic address." Which I like to
There
believe
you
that
go.
too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
It's just
another
energy
another
transfer,
birthday.
baby.
Another
The
birthday.
vibe you have is the vibe you ride.
That's it.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, say that again, Steve. What?
The
The
vibe you have, the vibe you have is the vibe you ride.
That you should get that tattooed on you.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Bud Harrelson was also born that day, Major League Baseball player.
Ooh,
He mostly played for the New York Mets. Uh, he was an American baseball shortstop, coach, and manager. Played in MLB for the Mets, Phillies, and Rangers from 65 to 80. After his retirement as a player, he served as a
nice.
coach for the 86 Mets team that won the World Series and as manager of the Mets in 1991. He was a coach and part owner of the Long Island Ducks of the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball. He's most famous. Daryl McKinley Bud Harrelson was his name, born in Niles, California on D-Day. His nickname Bud came from his younger brother, who had trouble saying his name, and said called him brother, which was shortened to Bud. Anyway, he was raised in Hayward, California, where he attended Sunset High School, home of the Falcons. He graduated in 1962. Notable
Falcons.
alumni include Lewis Feldman, a professor of plant biology at the University of California, Berkeley.
Ooh,
But he's most famous. Bud Harrelson
wonderful.
is most famous for his fight with Pete Rose.
What?
Yes. Harrelson's light hitting became the subject of controversy during the 1973 National League Championship Series. Mets starter John Matlack held the Cincinnati Reds to 2 hits in his 5-0 complete game victory in Game 2 of the series at Riverfront Stadium. Following the game, Harrelson commented, "He made the big red machine look like me hitting today." Harrelson was then confronted by Red second baseman Joe Morgan during pregame warmups for Game 3 and warned that Pete Rose was unhappy with that quote. In the 5th inning, Rose's hard slide hard into second base sparked a bench-clearing brawl. The game was nearly forfeited when the Shea Stadium crowd threw objects at Pete Rose, causing manager Sparky Anderson to remove the team from the field until order was restored. At that point, I didn't realize Sparky Anderson managed anybody other than the Tigers, so I was like, "Oh, that's great." Except that he was on an episode of WKRP in Cincinnati. Now that all makes sense to me. Anyway, Mets manager Yogi Berra and players Willie Mays, Tom Seaver, Cleon Jones, and Rusty Staub walked to left field to attempt to calm the fans. So that's Bud.
What a lineup there.
Yes,
Yogi
hell
Berra,
yeah.
Willie Mays.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? And that was in
That's fucking beautiful. That's
73.
fucking beautiful.
So
Yeah.
now I understand why Art is a baseball fan. Anyway, that's Bud Harrelson. He was born on D-Day.
Well, yeah.
And one more birthday
He
on
was born
D-Day.
then. Yeah.
Philip Allen Sharp, a geneticist and molecular biologist, was born in Falmouth, Kentucky. He's an
Okay.
American geneticist and
Nice.
molecular biologist who co-discovered RNA splicing. He shared the
Ooh.
1993 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine with Richard J. Roberts for the
Oh.
discovery that genes in eukaryotes are not contiguous strings and contain introns, and that the splicing of messenger RNA to delete those nitrons can occur in different ways, yielding different proteins from the same DNA sequence. How about
That's
that?
beautiful.
That's big deal. He
No,
was
that's
born
what
in,
I always forget. Like the mid '90s is when the Human Genome Project started like really
taking
popping.
off. Yeah, he was born in
Well, I
Falmouth,
mean, from my
Kentucky,
point of view.
and he married Ann Holcomb in 1964, and they had 3 daughters. Falmouth, Kentucky, where he's from, has a population of about 2,000.
Oh,
Falmouth
nice.
plays host to one of Kentucky's largest fall events, the Kentucky Wool Festival.
Oh,
Is in Falmouth, Kentucky. The Wool Festival is an annual event held adjacent to Kincaid Lake State Park during the first full weekend of
I do like
October.
a
So we can
fine wool
we can
product.
go to this Wool Festival this year,
When
guys,
is
if you
it?
want to.
When
It's the
is it?
first full weekend of October.
First full weekend of October.
This festival promotes
Nice.
wool products, crafts, food, among other
Yeah.
products. The festival provides fundraising activities to local organizations and entertainment for all age groups.
Yeah, no, dude, that sounds like a nice weekend.
Okay. One more birthday. Tommy Smith, track and field athlete and AFL wide receiver, was born in Clarksville, Texas. He's an American former track and field athlete and wide receiver in the AFL. At the 1968 Summer Olympics, Tommy C. Smith, age 24, won the 200-meter sprint finals and gold medal in 19.83 seconds, the first time the 20-second barrier was broken officially, and his Black Power salute with John Carlos atop the medal
Nice.
podium caused controversy as it was seen as politicizing the Olympic Games, and it remains a symbolic moment in the history of the Black Power movement. Tommy Smith was born on D-Day, guys. Now we know that.
Politicizing. It just means people.
Yeah,
Just
that's
people.
right. Anyway, he suffered pneumonia as a
You want
child.
to do the dies? You want to bring it down? You want to bring it down with the deaths?
Well, one more thing about Tommy C. Smith. He went to Lemoore
Oh, sorry
High,
to jump on
home
that.
of the Tigers,
Ooh.
and notable alumni.
Yeah.
Tommy C. Smith Black Power signs at the Olympics. Went to the same high school as Steve Perry from Journey.
Yes.
I love that. I know that. We now know
Oh my
that.
gosh.
We now know this.
Oh,
It's in
Tommy,
Lemoore, California.
your salute.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in Lemoore, California. Okay. Let me do the 2 deaths and then we can end this episode. Jimmy Monteith, 26th U.S. Army officer and posthumous recipient of the Medal of Honor, was killed in action on D-Day. His citation for his Medal of Honor reads as follows: for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty while serving with 16th Infantry Regiment, 1st Infantry Division in action near Colville-sur-Mer, France. First Lieutenant Monteith landed with the initial assault waves on the coast of France under heavy enemy fire. Without regard to his own personal safety, he continually moved up and down the beach, reorganizing men for further assault. He then led the assault over a narrow protective ledge and across a flat, exposed terrain to the comparative safety of a cliff. Retracing his steps across the field to the beach, he moved over to where 2 ranks were buttoned up and blind under violent enemy artillery and machine gun fire. Completely exposed to the intense fire, First Lieutenant Monteith led the tanks on foot through a minefield and into firing positions. Until his direction, several enemy positions were destroyed. Under his direction, several enemy positions were destroyed. He then rejoined his company, and under his leadership, his men captured an advantageous position on the hill, supervising the defense of his newly won position against repeated vicious counterattacks. He continued to ignore his own personal safety, repeatedly crossing the 200 or 300 yards of open terrain under heavy fire to strengthen the links in his defensive chain. When the enemy succeeded in completely surrounding First Lieutenant Monteith and his unit, and while leading the fight out of the situation, First Lieutenant Monteith was killed by enemy fire. The courage, gallantry, and intrepid leadership displayed by First Lieutenant Monteith is worthy of emulation. And the other one, notable person, died is John J. Pinder Jr., 32, U.S. Army soldier and posthumous recipient of the Medal of Honor, also killed in action on D-Day. And his citation reads, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty.
Intrepidity.
Near Colville-sur-Mer, France on D-Day, technician 5th grade Pinder landed on the coast 100 yards offshore under devastating enemy machine gun and artillery fire, which caused severe casualties among the boatload. Carrying a vitally important radio, he struggled toward a shore in waist-deep water. Only a few yards from his craft, he was hit by enemy fire and was gravely wounded. Technician 5th grade Pinder never stopped. He made shore and delivered the radio, refusing to take cover afforded or to accept medical attention for his wounds. Technician 5th grade Pinder, though terribly weakened by loss of blood and in fierce pain, on 3 occasions went into the fire-swept surf to salvage communication equipment. He recovered many vital parts and equipment, including another workable radio. On the 3rd trip, he was again hit, suffering machine gun bullet wounds to the legs. Still, this valiant soldier would not stop for rest or medical attention, remaining exposed to heavy enemy fire. Growing steadily weaker, he aided in establishing the vital radio communication on the beach. While so engaged, this dauntless soldier was hit for the 3rd time and killed. The indomitable courage and personal bravery of Technician 5th grade Pinder was a magnificent inspiration to the men with whom he served. And that's all I got for June 6th, 1944. This concludes another episode of American Timelines. We'll be back soon to continue June. We will someday get through June of 1944.
I think we should maybe finish it next time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Finish June? Like we'll go from June 7th to 30th?
Just savoring it.
Yeah. I mean, because, I think so.
we need
D-Day
to.
was a big deal.
I think we need to.
We'll try
It'll be-
to.
Well, I mean,
Because
like,
the next time, it'll be August probably next time we record, right?
Probably, yeah. Well, shit, yeah, it's already June 7th. You're right. All right. Well, do you guys have anything to leave with the listeners? Any words of wisdom or Instagram handles?
Bet on blue.
And
Just hit him with the now I'm obsessed with time.
And we'll see you next time.
dude.
Oh, somebody's got to say get out of here, Chuck Berry.
Get out of here, Chuck Berry.
Get the fuck out of here, Chuck Berry. Get out of the bathroom.
You're not supposed to be here, Chuck Berry. What are you doing?
Get wild, have you been down on the streets today? Say, yeah, now, baby, it's about to get crazy. Everybody's got something to say. We got 10,000 people screaming, oh my God, it's over, but they're never gonna take us away. So you better get believing there's a brand new feeling. If you're asking, I say stay awake. Stay awake. I know you feel it on the inside.
Matt Truman Ego Trip is the greatest band of all time. Buy their music. American Timelines is a product of History for Jerks. Check out historyforjerks.com for all the other weird and cool shiznit. There's The Gruff and Loud Show, a YouTube show for Gen X weirdos who like pop culture and weird shit. There's also The Deborah Jo Ruppyverse Show featuring the mighty Artstar and Steve Bishop exploring the theory that the actress Deborah Jo Rupp is a Nexus being, and every part she has played is one immortal being. Don't forget about the Nerd School podcast and the Threadless Shop, where you can buy a Tito Jackson shirt and a Dabney Coleman hat. Only a stupid dumbass wouldn't want a Dabney Coleman hat, and only a wiener bitch wouldn't want a Tito Jackson shirt.